Hey folks, so in this video, we're just going to talk about how to look for very specific information in a 10Q report. And for this example, we're going to use share repurchases, and we're going to be looking at Apple. So right now, I'm on the investor relations page, and I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to look for that 10Q report. So you're going to see for 2023, we have the Q2 and Q1, but we don't necessarily have the 10Q for Q2 because this usually takes a little bit of time, and Apple just reported earnings. So we're going to look at Q1 10Q. So, this is a long document, and just to simplify things, I'm going to do a Control F, and I'm going to type in repurchase. So by doing this, I'm really narrowing things down to just 11 searches right here. So you can see 0 out of 11. So I'm just going to click enter, and then just kind of scroll my way through this entire document. So we're going to hit enter. And okay, well, what's the first thing that comes up? Common share repurchases of $19 billion. And where is this being shown? It's being shown on the condensed consolidated statements of shareholders' equity. All right, so now we know that they purchased $19 billion worth of shares in Q1. Now let's hit enter again. Now we're on the condensed consolidated statement of cash flow. So right here, it's showing that they spent 19.475 billion. So now let's click enter again. And now they're talking about commercial paper. So let me just go ahead and zoom in on this. So what is this really saying? It's saying the company issues unsecured short-term promissory notes pursuant to a commercial paper program. The company uses net proceeds from the commercial paper program for general corporate purposes, including dividends and share repurchases. All right, so let's just start with what commercial paper is. So if you're ever unsure, you can really just Google it right here. So let's do what is commercial paper? All right, so it says commercial paper is a short-term unsecured promissory note issued by companies. So essentially, this is a debt security. So companies are issuing this, and it's basically a promissory note. So it's based off, the value of their word. So obviously, there's a lot of risk to this if they don't necessarily pay you back because there's no collateral to this. So that's essentially what a commercial paper is. And here in this report, they're saying, hey, you know what? They use it to pay dividends and repurchase shares. So now we got a little bit of information there. Now let's click enter again. All right, so now we're looking at note 6, shareholders' equity, and it's talking about the share repurchase program. So let's just zoom in a little bit more. And let me go ahead and read this for you. It says, during the 3 months ended December 31st, 2022, the company repurchased 133 million shares of its common stock for $19 billion under a share repurchase program authorized by the board of directors. The program does not obligate the company to acquire a minimum amount of shares. Now, that is a key detail right there. They're basically saying, hey, you know what? If we authorize like $110 billion and we set that aside for share repurchases, we don't necessarily have to use all of that. That's essentially what they're trying to tell you right there. Now it says under the program, shares may be repurchased in privately negotiated and or open market transactions, including under plans complying with Rule 10b5-1 under the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 as amended. So we're going to see a little bit more of this as we move on. So I'm going to click enter again. All right, so here we are. This is a nice little piece of data right here. So they give us this little table, okay? So this table is pretty much just showing all these different periods where they repurchased shares and what the average amount of that was. So let's just go through this real quick. So September 25th, 2022 to October 29th, 2022, they made open market and privately negotiated purchases. So this was about 69,169 shares at an average price per share of $144.57. So yeah, they were buying the dip right here. They were buying the dip at 149. They were buying the dip at 136.85. So you might have this, belief that Apple is just buying a concentrated amount of shares at a certain point in time. But that is not the case. They are essentially just purchasing throughout these entire periods right here. So they're pretty much purchasing throughout the entire quarter. So that's essentially what's going on. Now, this little category right here, this is telling you how much they have left under their purchasing plan. So right here, it's saying, hey, you know what? They have $41.665 billion left in their coffers to repurchase shares. So, on average, Apple, they purchase about $20 billion of shares a quarter. So, it is nice to see this data because, maybe these can act as support levels. Who knows? I mean, if we're just looking at this, we know that there is support on Apple around that 150 level. We also know that there's support on Apple around that 137 level. So, hey, you know what? Maybe if we're just looking at this, these can be areas of support because we know that Apple was purchasing shares here. And you could go back in several different quarters, and you could also see this same exact table. And you'll see that, hey, you know what? Throughout this entire quarter, they were purchasing shares. Well, where did they make the most purchases? So right here, you can see that they were making the most purchases right around September 25th, 2022 to October 29th. Because you can see right here, they made 69,169,000 share purchases. So I hope you guys learned a thing or two here and find this video helpful. So have a great day.